Buddy, put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast. The Michael Dukes Show.
The greed and the entitlement is astounding to me.
What more could you want from a low-budget radio program?
This is a dumpster fire.
That was just BS.
It is time to get a new perspective.
We know just what you need, and we've got just the cure. Open wide and prepare for a steaming hot cup of freedom.
I just don't fathom it.
The Michael Dukes Show, streaming live across the world.
Yeah, baby, that's right. The Michael Dukes Show, broadcasting live across the state of Alaska on this, your favorite radio station and or translator, and around the world at michaeldukeshow.com on the internet. Hi, how are you? Good morning. Welcome to the program. Appreciate you guys coming in and joining us. Thanks for being part of the show today. It is Tuesday, which means that we are ready to jump into it with both feet and get into the headlines and talk about a bunch of different stuff. And then, of course, as always, dive into it with Brad Keithley from Alaskans for Sustainable Budgets. That's where we've got to going to dive into the weekly top three. Today, we're going to talk about the budget surpluses. We're going to talk about the governor's new plan for energy, his renewable energy plan, and we're going to talk about the University of Alaska taking a look at that budget surplus and saying, "Woo, baby, I think we could use some of that. So we're going to talk about that this morning and get things ready to rock and roll, and we'll be proceeding ahead on those things this morning for the weekly top three. Then, of course, we're going to jump into it in hour two with Chris Story, the man from Homer, who will be coming on board with us and talking with us about his weekly life coaching lesson. I mean, who knows? We could talk about pottery and positivity and all that other kinds of stuff. I love it. I love it. I like it. I don't know what to say about it other than that. I'm looking forward to it. If you guys want to hang around and do that, it's going to be good stuff this morning for us. All right. Well, some headlines. Who's got your headlines? Now, don't forget, if you're having a hard time hearing us or you can't pick us up on the radio or whatever, you could always go over to my website, which is, of course, michaeldukeshow.com, and I've got the audio live stream up there as well. The audio live stream is ready to rock and roll, and it's pushing out all the information and audio that you need. So if you've fallen and can't reach your radio, then there's all the places that you can go this morning and hang out and do your thing. And if you want to be in the chat room, you can still be in the chat room and listen to the audio-only live stream and still chat away. Just mute the sound on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you are and get in there. I don't know. There's some kind of problem with the broadcast this morning where it's all I can still see is the splash screen, and apparently people are getting choppy audio. So, man, it is what it is. It is what it is. We can't control it, so we're going to work around it. That's how we roll. So some of the headlines that are breaking out here this morning: the governor's race continues to heat up. Democratic governor candidate Les Guerra has now picked a running mate. Now, you may recall that because of the new jungle primary and ranked choice voting rules that were implemented, part of that whole thing mandated that the governor's candidates would not run, the lieutenant governor and governor candidates would not run independently. Instead, they would run as a block. And so whoever's going to run for governor has to pick a running mate. And now we're seeing that come to light as Governor Les Guerra has chosen Jessica Cook, who is a school teacher from Palmer. And she's going to be his lieutenant governor candidate here. She is born and raised in Anchorage, parent of 20 years of experience, is a school teacher. She's got a couple master's degrees in education and is a member of a big member of the teachers union. Now, she has no prior experience in public office, but that hasn't really slowed anybody else. Remember, Bill Walker has picked Heidi Drygas as his running mate as well. Again, no real public office work. I mean, she's worked for the government, but no elected office experience. Not that I'm sure that being a lieutenant governor necessarily requires you to be a consummate politician or anything. It seems like this is all about being for the children, because that's what they talked about here specifically. That they're all about for the children. So you can see his platform is going to be very, very much in line on the educational front. That's where he's going to be, I think, stoking a lot of his fires. He said that they had been discussing the candidacy with Cook for months, although she was trying to balance it out with her teaching job. But she had finally decided that for the children, that she was going to do it. She thought it was an opportunity to help not just her students, not just her kids and her grandkids, but actually help her fellow Alaskans. So she decided to throw her hat in the ring. Of course, the first thing they did was attack Governor Mike Dunleavy's economic and budgetary policy, accusing him of contributing to the out-migration of Alaska that has been going on, and that began before Dunleavy entered office and has continued through his term. Again, he kind of inherited this, and it's just been going on ever since. Both of them said they also support the restoration of the public pension program for state employees. And that's code, by the way, because there is still a public pension program for state employees. It's just not the defined benefits program, the Tier 1 defined benefits program or Tier 2 or Tier 3 that they are looking for. That has been on the wish list of Democrats for many years, regardless of what it costs the state, regardless of what it takes in, of what it takes in actual money to fill that out. They have been fighting for that for many, many years. They say that a pension, well, again, this is just the sloppy writing. Let me just sidebar for a second. This is just the sloppy writing of the ADN and James Brooks. Who should know better? Cook and Guerra say they support the restoration of a public pension program for state employees, saying that the pension would give teachers and public safety workers a reason to remain in Alaska, reducing chronic turnovers. But there is a public pension program. There is a public pension program. Now, it's a defined contribution plan, which a lot of people are butthurt about, but that's what it is. It's a public pension program. They act as if there is no retirement and no pension for the teachers or for public safety workers, which is just, again, lazy reporting at this point. You could have at least pointed out that the defined contribution program, which is what they're talking about, was eliminated back in, I don't know, what was it, 2005, something like that, where they went to the defined benefits or from the defined benefits to the defined contribution. The only reason that they did it, by the way, is because the defined benefits program was bleeding us completely dry, and we were having to contribute. We had an $11 billion shortfall to the defined benefits program. So, but again, this is just lazy. Cook and Garris said they support the restoration of a public pension program for state employees, saying that a pension would give teachers and public safety workers a reason to remain in Alaska, reducing chronic I mean, come on. Come on. The two also said they would propose an expansion of the state's force of rural troopers and village VPSOs, public safety officers, reductions in tax credits paid to oil companies, and increasing spending on maintenance backlogs at public facilities and, of course, the University of Alaska. One of the reasons why they said that that Garris said he had chosen Cook is fill out all the check marks on the racial diversity ethnicity card. I wanted the most qualified person. Then I wanted a ticket, if possible, to look like Alaska so that we're regionally diverse, we're ethically diverse. So apparently that's part of it. Now, the only two that I think that have not announced so far their candidate for lieutenant governor is Mike Dunleavy and Charlie Pierce. They haven't announced yet who's going to be their running mate. Bill Walker, as I mentioned earlier, has nominated Heidi Drygas. Libertarian Billy Toyne is running with Shirley Rainbolt. Republican candidate Bruce Walden is running with Tanya Lang, and Republican candidate Christopher Kirka is running with Paul Hoiper as part of their campaign. So we're still waiting to hear who. We're still waiting to hear where Mike Dunleavy and Charlie Pierce are as far as their running mates go. So we'll be following along and waiting for that one to pop out here at any moment. I also want to talk about the Freedom Convoy, right? The Freedom Express or whatever they're calling the trucker thing going on in Canada, because there's been some breaking stuff late yesterday. Justin Trudeau suspended the civil liberties in his country. He declared the Canadian version of martial law to try and end the trucker convoy and the occupation of Ottawa. And we're gonna find out more about that here in just a bit. But we are up against the break, and I don't have enough time to get into it. Probably because I was mocking James Brooks for just so lazy. Support the restoration of a public pension program. I mean, like, they don't have one now. It's just, God, I wish